So hi guys, I figured since we are starting lightning talks, why not just be super meta and talk lightning talk about lightning talks? So this is Pecha Kucha. It's Japanese for chit chat. It is a presentation format that keeps presentations concise and fast paced. So nothing is more boring than some joker up there reading his entire speech of his own bullet points. You've seen that speech, right? And then you've asked yourself the same question you all do. When is it all going to end? It just takes so long. So Pecha Kucha is good because it has a very strict presentation format. It is exactly 20 seconds, 20 slides. So everything must auto-advance. As you can see, my hands will be in my pocket for the rest because it's very cold. It forces you to keep each point properly succinct. After all, how much can you say in 400 seconds? So one phrase for thinking creatively is thinking out of the box, right? But I believe that it's actually the other way around. If you have creativity through limitations, just like how the reason why JavaScript is kind of good today is because it's kind of shitty. It's the same thing. You challenge yourself to go past the limitations put on you. Pecha Kucha was invented by two architects in 2003. People with slides tend to go on and on and on and on and on and on. But this rule allows them to be more efficient. People will pay more attention if you put more important information within a shorter period of time. So what are the uses of Pecha Kucha? This is not something for explaining like your tech research or your new library with your 5 million over APIs. This is for quick introduction of a concept. It's for inspiring people to do something that you want them to do. Like for example, use Pecha Kucha for your next lightning presentation. So there's some benefits here. People will be focused on the speaker, of course, not really the slides and what you're talking about instead of reading it off. The strictness enforces you to not dwell too much on one point. It gives your presentation more impact because you're talking about a more concise thing. Now the drawback is that it requires either a strong understanding of the topic that you're going to talk about or a lot of preparations. And you can't also stop to interact with your audience because it's only 400 seconds. And once you mess up, you kind of have to react accordingly and respond quickly. So when you give a Pecha Kucha presentation, there's some advice. You can talk about something familiar. Try not to have a long script. Try to have it in point form, line form. Set approximately 3 major points per slide. I find that preparing slightly more sub-points than you actually have to say, it helps you make up for the extra time. So don't have too many text, right? Sometimes less is actually more. If your font size is smaller than 30, does it really belong on a slide? Most of the time, no. The audience can focus on either your words or your slides, but rarely both. So you can also have to avoid animations, if anything. And then for every presentation, make sure you get to the points quickly, or every slide. 20 seconds is actually not a lot of time. At most, you can talk about 3 to 4 points without elaborating further. And if you want to put a diagram on a screen, right, it takes a very long time to follow. Also, when you make a lightning presentation, make sure you have a good call to action. Like for example, please use Pecha Kucha for your next presentation. This call to action can be repeated many times throughout the presentation. Like for example, please use Pecha Kucha for your next presentation. So how do you prepare for Pecha Kucha? You organize your thoughts. There are a few. Preparation is really very important for such a very strict format. So I have 4 general points. You practice, you organize your thoughts, your working method, and your summarization. So for Pecha Kucha, the slides, as you all know, the slides will go on without you. Once it's gone, you can't take the moment back. So you need to practice and practice and practice. So if you didn't practice, like for example, I didn't for this slide, you have all these awkward mistakes. So when you plan your presentation, you can just have a general layout of points. This is actually during my presentation process. As you can see, I only put pictures for the start. You can add pictures as you go along, and this is very helpful because it helps you rearrange your points for better flow for the rest of your presentation. It also gives you an idea of like where to put jokes if you think it gets boring. You can also work on multiple slides simultaneously with that style of preparation, because as a person or normal human being, right, our thoughts tend to jump from one point to another. Sometimes we think, oh, that's a great idea for the previous slide. Let me go back and edit. So if you lay out all your thoughts at the start, it gives you an idea to jump back and forth and make a better flow. But in the end, all of these things, you should have one general concept. Like for example, please use Pecha Kucha for your next presentation. So make sure when you make all your slides, it all kind of leads back to that one single point. Don't have it window too far off. 20 parts of the content should just add up towards that final goal. But in the end, what I taught to you today is just general guidelines. Apart from 2020, you can just do anything in the slide. You can overlay multiple images and split that 20 seconds up into more. You can put animations, or you can just do something simple like what I did because it's easy. And in the event of doing something that you mess up, all you have to do is to keep calm and carry on. So something like last week when I presented, that blank pause there, that was a real thing. I decided to add it as part of the actual presentation because it's kind of funny. It avoids those awkward silence, and if you have practiced, you should know what to do in cases of mess-ups. So I'd like to invite all of you to join me in this limitation in this box of Pecha Kucha. You can add it to of course, your lightning presentations. 400 seconds is it's exactly 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Or you can just go to Toastmasters, they do Pecha Kucha nights sometimes, and you can practice this format. Thank you.